come back after death?
Amen.
Can I come back after death? There are a lot of religions who have varying ideas about what happens when you die. There are a lot of religions that think about and teach like that you can. Have you heard the saying, cats have 9 lives? Well, sometimes we wonder what happens when we die. And even why do we die? What's the purpose of death? Where does death come from? And even maybe, why would God allow a part of our experience to even be death? And that's a good question, really, that many people ask. Why does God let us die? Why do we have to die? What is this death? Where does it come from? What's the purpose? Well, last week we actually identified where death came from. And in case you missed it, we're going to just review a little bit why there is this thing called death. Where does death come from? How does death fit into the picture of a loving God? Why are we living through this? And we talked about John 10, verse 10, where Jesus says, look, death was not a part of my Father's plan. Death was not a part of my plan. If you follow the Good Shepherd, there wouldn't be death, but there's this thing called the thief. And the thief comes only to what? Steal, kill, and destroy. If you let the thief into your life, he's first going to steal from you. If you let the thief into your life, it's not death he goes right for, it's first stealing. And what he steals from you is joy. What he steals from you is peace. What he steals from you is security. What he steals from you is hope. What he steals from you is purpose. What he steals from you is power to live out your life, because power comes from connection to the Father.
Amen.
Through the Son. And when the thief comes, he is going to break that connection and he's going to start stealing from you. And once he has stole everything of value he has or can get from you, then he will kill you. And one of the points I made last week in the first part of John 10 is he doesn't just want to steal from you. He just doesn't want to kill you. I actually said this. There are fates worse than death. Death you can come back from. Or can you? That's the question of the sermon, right? But he wants to destroy you. He wants to make sure that you cannot come back after death. In fact, it has always been his agenda from the very beginning, if you think about it. From the very beginning, his thing was like, surely you can break Yahweh's commands. Surely you can break God, Elohim in the Hebrew. You can break his plans for your life. Surely he knows that he's not going to really kill you, right? See, the devil likes to tell these slithery, fork-tongued, two-tiered lies. Because it's the thief who kills. And there in the garden, he's stealing life. But he's not just stealing life, he's lying about how life happens. Life happens because God gives it. And when God gives it, it has joy. It has peace. It has prosperity. It has purpose. It has power. But first he comes and begins to steal it by planting doubt, just as he did in the garden. And then he steals it by causing literal death. And if you let him, he will take it all the way until you are eternally destroyed. Now, can we come back? What do we do about death? How do we view death? You know, we as people, I mean humanity, we have been fixated on this problem from the garden. You know, show of hands of people who are excited about death. Yeah, we're not, right? Show of hands of people who are excited to the things that lead up to death. You know, like sickness, pain, disease, old age. You see? What does the serpent do? What does the thief do? He steals. He steals from what life was intended to be. He steals the veracity, the vitality. He steals the passion of life until people arrive at a place that they don't even want it anymore. Here, we must think about. We have invested so many resources in preventing death, haven't we?
Amen.
Amen to that, right?
Amen.
Like, because I'm in the camp who believes in Jesus. But even though I'm in the camp that believes in Jesus, I'm in the camp that doesn't want to die.
Amen.
Yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it, Daniel?
Amen. Yeah.
You know, I believe in Jesus,
I'm with it.
but I still don't want to die.
Amen.
And so, you and I, we're the same as everybody. Like, the world is investing a lot. Like, and I wonder about this. I wonder about how is this going to go down? I mean, like, so when I was growing up, the average lifespan was like 70 years. And, you know, now it's up to like 80 years. And I'm thinking, you know, by the time I actually get to that point, it might be up to like 90 or 100 years, right? You know, corporations are extending the period before you can retire, right?
Yep.
Because of the extended
Lifespan.
life cycle. I say praise God. How about you? I'm in the camp that is a Christian, but I still don't want to die.
Amen.
But I don't want to be robbed either, which was my sermon last week. I don't want to be robbed, because what the thief does is not just kill you. I mean, it's not so bad if he just kills you. But he spends that 70 years, he spends that 80 years, he spends that 90 years robbing you, stealing from you, taking from you, breaking you down, until we feel like we're alive but not alive. You know, isn't it interesting that our pulp culture and our entertainment is all focused on these creatures that are half dead and half alive? Because we want to find a way. I mean, we just want, you know, like the fountain of youth, the Lazarus pit. Like we want to find a way to not die or to come back, you know. But here's what Scripture tells us. From Ecclesiastes, it says, "For the living know what." Read this with me. "For the living know that they will." You know that, right? I'm not breaking no news to you, am I?
No.
I hope I haven't shattered anyone's future plans. The living know that they will what?
Die.
Die. But what do the dead know?
Nothing.
The dead know nothing. They have what?
No further reward.
No further reward. Or, even their name is what?
Forgotten.
Forgotten. I mean, we remember some people, right? We know about Julius Caesar. We know about Abraham Lincoln, like the big people who do things, right? But how many people died in this world? I don't know. And I certainly don't know their name. That's why John 10 is so important to us. Because on our own, there is no way back. On our own, there is no way back. I only have life that was given to me. You follow what I'm saying? I am not immortal, I am mortal. I only have life because life has been what? Given to me. If the thief comes and steals all my reasons to live and then kills me, I got no more life. Life is not a video game. You don't get to die and hit reset. You don't get 2 players. You don't get 3 players. It is appointed to man once to live, then to what? Die. The wages of sin is what?
Death.
Death. Have any one of us not deserved our paycheck yet? I mean, it's the wages. You've earned it. I mean, which one of you go to a job and say, don't pay me my just wage? Right? I have one life. And I have the thief who conspires, we saw last week, with the hireling to lead me out of the gate and to bring things into my life that destroy me, that kill me, that prevent me from being able, once I'm dead, to have player 2. That's why John 10 is important to us. John 10 is important to us because I don't have life, but Jesus does.
Amen.
I don't have life, but Jesus does. Jesus said, I have come to what?
Give you life.
I have come to give life. Why do I need life? I need life because my life is being robbed. Why do I need life? I need life because I'm being stolen from. Why do I need life? Because the thief is going to steal from me until he kills me, and then he's hoping that when he kills me, he has destroyed me eternally. And I am helpless if I let the thief in my life. I am helpless if I am lured out by the hireling. I am helpless because I have one life. I am mortal. And if I surrender that life to the thief, if I allow the thief to rob me, if I allow the thief to take from me, if I allow the thief to take my joy, if I allow the thief to take my peace, if I allow the thief to take my prosperity, if I allow the thief to take my power, if I allow the thief to take my purpose, then I will be dead. Which is why I need someone who has prosperity. Which is why I need someone who has power. Which is why I need someone who has purpose. And Jesus says in John 10:10, I've come to restore life. I've come to take back what the thief has robbed. I have come to give you life and to give you a better life. Will we take it? Will we embrace it? Will we accept it? Because you have one life and one life only, except for Jesus. Jesus comes to restore what it is that is being broken and taken from you. Here he says in verse 14, I am the what? The good shepherd. I know my own, and my own know what?
Me.
Know me. I am the good shepherd. I know my own, and my own know me. Just as my Father, what?
Knows me.
Knows me. I want you to notice this is relational. We need to understand how to restore life. And how life is restored is relational. I know my who? Sheep. And my sheep know me. And I know who? My Father. Just as the Father knows me, I know the Father. Now look carefully. And I what?
Lay down my life for the sheep.
I lay down what? My life for who?
Sheep.
The sheep. I lay down my life for the sheep. I know my sheep. My sheep know me. My Father knows me, and I know my Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. Why is he laying down his life for the sheep? Because of the thief and the hireling. The thief kills you, but the hireling lures you out of the pen. The hireling gives you a false sense of security. The hireling lets you believe that you were safe when you were exposed, but you're not. The thief is waiting to kill you. The hireling is anyone who proposes to make you feel safe when they are not going to protect you. They are going to run away. The hireling for us in the Western world is often security of money. It's often security of job. It's often security of home. It's often security of internet connection, high-speed internet connection. I got all I need, right? The hireling is anything that makes you think you're sufficient. The hireling makes you believe he's protecting you, but he is not the good shepherd. The hireling, Jesus told us last week, runs at the first sign of trouble. You know, you can have a job. You can have money. You can have prosperity. You can have worldly peace. You can have everything you think you need. But if you don't know the Good Shepherd, and if the Good Shepherd doesn't know you, who is going to lay down their life for you when the hireling runs away? And some of us know the experience of the hireling running away. Some of us know the experience of lost pain that we didn't plan for. Some of us know the experience of being empty, being broken, and having our whole world shattered, and having no sense of security, no sense of safety left. But we have a good shepherd, and he knows you, and you know him, and he knows the Father, and the Father knows him, and he will trade his life to give you life.
Amen.
That's why we must have connection to the Good Shepherd. We must know who it is that we are following. And so he says, and I have other sheep that are not what?
Of this fold.
Not of this fold. I must what? Bring them also. And they will what?
Listen to my voice.
Listen to my voice, so that there will be
One flock.
one flock and what?
One shepherd.
One shepherd. I don't know where his other sheep is, but I wish he'd bring them today. We're pretty empty. But think about this. Sometimes it's about more than you. So far in John 10, we've all been about, how do I not get killed? How do I not get robbed? How do I not get destroyed? You know, it's kind of the problem of the Western world, right? You know, how do I keep my country prosperous regardless of what's happening on the rest of the globe? How do I get my 2-car garage no matter what's happening in the other neighborhood? How do I get what I want and not worry about what everybody else wants? But I want you to see something. If you belong to the shepherd, if you know the shepherd, and if the shepherd knows you, and the shepherd knows the father, and the father knows the shepherd, and the shepherd's willing to die for you, the shepherd is not done with just you. And that's kind of the problem we're facing in the Western world. It's kind of the problem we're facing in the Western church. It's kind of the problem we're even facing in our church sometimes. Church is not about us. God is not about us. Life is not about us. I have how many lives? One. But I follow a shepherd who's just not a mediocre shepherd. I follow a shepherd who's not just an okay shepherd. I follow a shepherd who's not just Pastor Vinnie's shepherd. I follow a shepherd who is not just the Adventist shepherd. I follow a shepherd who is not just a Christian shepherd. I follow a shepherd who have sheep in every country. I follow a shepherd who have sheep in every region. I follow a shepherd that, if we're ready or not, he has sheep in other religions. They know him. But we don't know them. Remember, it's all about relationship. Jesus knows you. You know him. Jesus knows the Father. The Father knows him. So Jesus will die for you. Next thing Jesus says, oh, it's not just you. I know people everywhere. We are busy being afraid of sheep Jesus has everywhere. We are busy isolating ourselves from sheep Jesus has everywhere. The idea that all religions are the same, they're not. I'm not at all preaching all religions are the same. There is one name by which man can be what? Saved. It is Jesus.
Amen.
But what is Jesus saying? They will hear me wherever they are.
Amen.
And they will what? Come. And there will be what? One church. One flock. One fold. Because here's the thing. The thief is not just stealing from you. The thief is not just stealing from me. The thief is stealing from, ultimately, the Father. This is why Jesus said, I know you. You know me. I know the Father. The Father knows me. That's why I die for you. Because we are the Father's. Jesus is willing to die for us because we are the Father's. But it's not just us that belong to God, right? Everyone belongs to God. The problem is, everyone doesn't know it. And part of being restored, part of being fulfilled, part of being given life is being given the desire to share with other sheep in other places that voice that you heard that gives you life. Amen. We need to preach the gospel. We need to share the Good Shepherd. We need to let other people know about Jesus. Jesus says, I am the Good Shepherd. I know you. My Father knows me. I know my Father. I am willing to die for you. And now I have to tell you the next thing. It's more than you. There are other sheep that are very different than you that you don't know yet. They don't know you yet. But I'm calling. I am calling because I am life. I am calling because the thief kills, steals, and destroys from everyone. And so he goes on to say in verse 17, For this reason, what? For this reason, what? The Father what?
Loves me.
Loves me. Now, we can look at the causality of that, and that can get pretty complex, but basically Jesus is saying, look, this happens because the Father loves me. I'm willing to lay down my life for you. I'm willing to lay down my life for those that you don't know, because it's about a love relationship I have with my Father.
Amen.
And this love relationship I have with my Father is with you and with other people you don't know yet. For this reason, my Father loves me, because I do what? Lay down my life, that I may what? Take it up again. I want you to notice something. How many lives do I have? One. Do I have any resets, any second players on my video game? Nope. What about Jesus? I what? Lay down what? My life. And who takes it up?
He does.
Notice it. What's it say?
I take it up again.
I take it up again. Jesus can do what I can't. Jesus can do what you can't. Jesus has the ability, like, don't ask me how this works, because I'm a human. Jesus has the ability to be dead. And what do we know about the dead?
They know nothing.
Jesus has the ability to be dead. And while dead, hit the second player button. Reset the level. Come back again. And that's the difference between immortal and mortal. I am mortal. I get one life and then death. Jesus is what? Immortal. He can die and he can hit reset. Even with it. Now, you might be doubting me. And I know you might be doubting me, but that's why after verse 17, there's a verse 18. Because we got to deal with doubt, okay? No one does what?
Takes it from me.
No one takes it from me. Come on.
But I lay it down.
Those Jews, they think they're taking it, right? Pilate thinks he's taking it, right? What's Jesus' take on it? Nope. I know this might be worldview shattering, but these are the words of Jesus. No one takes it from me, but what?
I lay it down.
I lay it down on my what?
My own accord.
My own accord. Listen, the thief can't take anything from Jesus. The thief can take from you. The thief can take from me. But Jesus got no fear of the thief. Jesus is like, let me show you what your powers can do. Let me just do it here for a second. I'll be right back. You think you got something on me? Let me just show you. This thing that everyone's afraid of? Boof. I'm back. 3 days. No problem. This is meant to give you confidence. This is meant to give you courage. This is meant to give you ferocity when you're in the face of the dragon. Jesus shows the devil. The devil is like, I will steal from you, I will kill you, and I will destroy you. Jesus is like, I'll do all three in once to myself, and I'll be right back. Just hold on a second. And then he says, oh, my sheep know me. I know my sheep. My Father knows me. I know my Father. I'm going to die in their place. Hold on, wait. I'm going to get these other guys over here too and add them in, and I'm going to die in their place. Well, what's the big deal? The big deal is we don't follow the hireling, and we don't follow the thief. We follow who?
Jesus.
The Good Shepherd. No one takes it from me. I lay it down how?
Of my own accord.
On my own accord. I have the authority. Who has the authority?
I do.
Jesus. You're not beholden to anyone. In Jesus is life itself. Not borrowed, not taken, not granted. It is his own. I have authority to die when I want and to live when I want. I don't have that authority, not me, not Vinnie. Not you. Jesus, I have something no one else has. I have something the thief doesn't have. I have something the hireling doesn't have. I have something the sheep doesn't have. I have something the other sheep doesn't have. I have the authority to die at will. And to live at will. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down of my own accord. I have the authority to lay it down, and I have the authority to what?
Take it up again.
To take it up again. This charge I have received from my Father. As Jesus is saying, I'm not worried about that serpent. I'm not worried about that dragon. I'm not worried about that devil of old. I am not worried. Don't you be living in fear. Be following the Good Shepherd. Because in him there is life. Not borrowed, not derived, not one. He doesn't have one life to live. He is life. He is life itself. He has the authority to end it. He has the authority to create it. He has the authority to restore it. We are worried. How can we come back from destruction? Maybe you're worried. Maybe you're in a tough spot. Maybe your life is hard right now. Maybe you're being robbed. Maybe you have left that gate door open. Maybe you have been letting things flood in. Jesus has a plan for you. Jesus has a plan. You can't come back, by the way. You got one life. You can't come back. But you can know the one who can bring you back. Because there is one who has all power. There is one who has all authority. There is one who has a reset on everything. And his name is the Good Shepherd. Who do you follow? Are you following the hireling? Are you putting your security in your job? Are you putting your security in your home? Are you putting your security in who you vote for? Are you putting your security in human relationships? Are you putting your security in that you were lucky enough to be born into a great country? Are you putting your security into anything other than following the Good Shepherd? Because everything else robs. Everything else kills, and everything else destroys. Jesus says, I will lay down my life for my sheep.
Amen.
And you know what happens, right? You know what happens when Jesus lays down his life, right? He takes it back up again. That's how it works. This guy, Jesus, every time he dies, he just comes back. And he says, I'll do it for who?
My
For
sheep.
you. The question are you his sheep? Because he is the Good Shepherd. And he is the way back from wherever you may be today. He is the Good Shepherd. And he is the way to resurrection from wherever you are at today. because he is the good shepherd and he is the healer of whatever you are experiencing today, because he is the good shepherd. And he is the bread of life. He is ready to fill you. He is ready to complete you. He is ready to make your bellies full of nourishment, because he is the good shepherd of others too. It's about more than you. And here we stand at the crossroads in the Western church, which is an idea I've been hitting for a while. We want Christ to be all about us. We want church to be all about us. We want it our way, our style. We want everything to revolve around us. But Jesus says, I am the good shepherd. What about the others? I am the good shepherd, even of people like lost Leos. If you were here last week, you remember the story of Leo. Leo was a good Christian. Leo came from a good Christian family. Leo was the worship leader, multi-talented, played multi-instruments in his local church. And Leo faced the problem that everybody in leadership in a church eventually faces. People just kept asking more and more of Leo. And Leo was like, I am so done with dying for these sheep. I'm dying for these sheep every week, and they don't even appreciate it. They don't even notice it. Leo began to say something. Why don't some of these sheep get up here and die for me once in a while? And Leo started skipping church. Do you know we live in a place in Western America where people in Pew Research polls said they were dedicated Christians, and when they were asked how often they come to church, it was once a month. Leo was a leader, and he knew that. He said, maybe I should be like those dedicated Christians who come once a month. And you see, when you're away from the flock, you're away from the good shepherd. Because the good shepherd is where? With the flock. And Leo started letting all kinds of things into his life. It was slow. It was like, he'd be like, Shelby, why don't you lead the praise band today? Yeah. I'm going to take the day off. Right? He'd be like, let someone else do it.
Amen.
And he just began to drift. There is no drifting. The thief what? Steals, kills, and what? Destroys. Leo was on his way to being lost. He may have been lost. And one day, Leo looks down and says, you know what I really need? I really need a nice cold beer on this hot day. About 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon, and his dad just come home from church. Leo says, Dad, I'm going to go buy some beer. You need anything at the store? No, he didn't say chips. He said, Leo, it's Sabbath, and you shouldn't be drinking beer. But then he said, but Leo, why don't you take my car? Because Dad knew he just come home from church. And Dad knew he left the radio dial on WGTS. And Dad knew that just Leo getting in that car and cranking it was going to give Leo at least one chance to hear something from the radio about God. And the second Leo cranked that car, he heard the words to a song that he had sang hundreds of times in front of the whole church. By your Spirit. By your Spirit. By your Spirit I will rise. the resurrecting King is resurrecting me. And he went instantly. It was like a shot of lightning. His hand went right to the dial to shut that off. But he just kept hearing it. He kept hearing, by your Spirit, I will rise. By your Spirit, I will rise. The resurrecting King is resurrecting me. The problem is, he's still hearing it, but the radio is off. Because I know my sheep. And my sheep know me. And we always become part of the other. But the other will hear his voice. And when they hear his voice, they can't shut it off. By your Spirit, I will rise. The resurrecting King is resurrecting me. Marvin's going to give us a little bit of Leo's song.
By your Spirit, I will rise from the ashes of defeat. The resurrected King is resurrecting me. In your name I come alive to declare your victory. The resurrected King is resurrecting me. By your Spirit I will rise from the ashes of defeat. The resurrected King is resurrecting me. In your name I come alive to declare your victory. The resurrected King is resurrecting me. Your name is victory. All praise will rise to Christ our King. Your name is victory. All praise will rise to Christ our King. By your Spirit I will rise from the ashes of defeat. The resurrected King is resurrecting me. In your name I will rise, alive to declare your King. Your name is resurrecting me.
I don't know if you're a lost Leo. I don't know if you're a part of the other. I don't know if you're just a sheep following a shepherd. But to me today, I don't care if you're a lost Leo. I don't care if you're part of the other. I don't care if you found this video because someone finally shared some stuff off of our Facebook page. I don't care what sin you're involved in. I don't care what struggle you're battling with. I don't care what addiction is controlling you. I just care if you will hear the shepherd's voice. Because if you're a sheep, if you're a lost Leo, if you're a part of the other, all you need is to hear the sheep's voice, and the sheep's voice is the Spirit. The Spirit that is rising you. There are a lot of places you could be today. You're here because you have heard His voice. There's a lot of places you could have chose to worship, or you might have been like those others who just skip church 3 times a month. But you're here because you're hearing the shepherd. You're hearing him through his voice, which is the Spirit. And he's calling you to be resurrected. He's calling you to realize that the only way to resurrection is through him. Can you come back? Can you come back from the dead? Can you come back after death? Yes, you can't. You hear me? Yes, you can't. But the Spirit can call you to rise, because Jesus said, I know my sheep know me. My Father know me, and I know my Father, and I will lay down my life. I will take the place of your death. I will make it as if your death doesn't count, because I will take it for you. Not only you, anyone you let know about me, any lost Leo out there, I will bring back. Don't waste another day. Don't waste another week. Don't be enslaved to the things of this world. Don't be a lost Leo. Hear the Spirit calling you. If you've not been baptized, there's a place on that card that I showed you. There's a place on that card to be baptized. And I got people who need to be baptized. And you know who you are because you hear him calling you. You're fighting it, you're denying it, but he is calling you. I got people who are playing church. They come to church, but they're part of the other. I call them part of the other because they're not in the fold. If you're not in the fold and you belong to God, then you are lost Leo. You are a part of the other, because the sheep are always in the fold with the shepherd. And if you're not in the fold, then you're part of the other that he's calling. Choose to follow Jesus. It's there on your card. Don't play anymore. Don't play anymore. It's no more an accident that you are here today than it's an accident that Leo turned on that radio. It was preset to WGTS. You came, and the Spirit was preset to show you can't come back from death, but Jesus can bring you back. You have that card. Think about where you're at. And think about where you want to be. And think about, is it worth whatever's at that store waiting for you? When you turn that key and the Spirit calls you to rise. Look at that card. Think about that as Marvin gives us just a little bit more.
Your name is victory. All praise will rise to Christ our King. Your name is victory. All praise will rise to Christ our King. By your Spirit I will rise from the ashes of defeat. The resurrected King is resurrecting me. In your name I come alive to declare your victory. The resurrected King is resurrecting me. Your name is victory. All praise will rise to Christ our King. Your name is victory. All praise will rise to Christ our King.
Dear Heavenly Father, however this sermon is found online or in person, it's no mistake. The car key is turned and the Spirit is calling. He's calling us. He's calling us back from wherever we're at. He's calling us away from the lies of the hireling. He's calling us back from the power of the thief. Father, He's calling us. He's calling us by your Spirit. He's calling us to rise. And Father, He's doing it with authority. Because our good shepherd, He has the authority to lay down His life for us. And then He has the authority to pick it back up for us. So Father, what I am confessing to you is we have no excuse to stay dead. Because we can't live, but we can give ourselves to life. And He can resurrect us. He has authority. May people look at their cards one last time. May people recognize the authority of Christ in their life. Because this is not about a sermon. This is not about just one Sabbath day. This is not about just one experience. This is the authority of Christ invading the pits of hell and calling the lost Leos back to His hand, which we will talk about next week. In Jesus' name, amen.